Hey, everybody, it's Scott Steen with winnersandwhiners.com, and it's another week here of Today in Sports Betting. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend. Actually had some live events going on. Had a little NASCAR, had a little UFC, had some horse racing. And to break it all down, man, I've got a great crew with me today. As always, my partner in crime, my co-host up there from Long Island, New York, he is Scott Reichel. Scott, good morning. Happy Monday. Good morning, good afternoon, whenever you happen to be viewing this. How you doing today, bud?
Doing pretty well. Happy June to everybody.
Happy June. That's right, June 1st.
Yep.
Man, just seems like yesterday. It just for me, it seems like the world got put on hold when the Chiefs won the Super Bowl.
For me, I feel like it's been 2020 for about 2 years, and
Man,
June just started, so that's kind of how I feel about it. But overall, pretty fun weekend. A lot of sports going on. We're going to recap some of our picks and stuff like that and how the weekend went. Overall, profitable for me. NASCAR, we'll get into that one. I think I might have a rant or two in store. But overall, it's profitable in both events, so I can't really complain. And, looking forward to breaking it down with you and our guest for the day.
Yeah, if you watch that Gilbert Burns Woodley fight, my weekend, I felt like Gilbert Burns. That's pretty much how my weekend went. So,
I think you mean.
But to help break us down,
I think you mean Woodley.
What's that?
I think you mean Woodley because Burns won that fight.
Oh, that's sorry. Yeah, Woodley. Sorry, yeah, the Woodley's the one that got pummeled. So, yeah, and to help break us down, we have our resident expert in all things UFC and NASCAR, as well as esports. We're going to be joining him again for esports tomorrow. He's going to be making the double appearance, the double header, if you will, the Monday and Tuesday. But to kick it off, he is the one and only Winning Willie from down there in Mississippi. Willie, what's up, buddy?
What's going on? I made it.
Good to have you. Good to have you and your internet back. I know you were having some connectivity issues here over the weekend, so it's good to have you back and running. And how long did that take to get you back up, buddy?
Well, right around the time I messaged you my picks, what was that? Probably about 2 hours.
Okay.
It just seems to come and go sometimes.
Very good. Yeah, that's we all have our internet challenges, so it's good to have you back in full throttle here, so to speak. And let's start with UFC. The UFC fight night there on Saturday night had a deep preliminary card as well as a nice card on the main card. Scott, I know that you did okay on this. Give us some of your highlights. I know that you just want to go through these first, one at a time. The first match there was Chris Gutierrez taking care of business against Vince Morales. Scott, how'd you end up doing on that one?
Very well. I had Gutierrez winning inside the distance at plus 550 on Fox Bet. I actually found out him by knockout was roughly plus 1,000 and change on 5 dimes if you are betting offshore. So I could have made even more coin on it, but I didn't realize until it was too late. But yeah, Gutierrez winning inside the distance, plus 550, and he won by second round knockouts. That was a nice 5.5 unit way to start the card. He won by leg kick, which is the 10th time that's ever happened in the history of the UFC. Just kept destroying his legs. At some point, his opponent's leg just seemed to be protruding outward, and he couldn't move. So the ref stopped it early.
How does that not happen more often? With the frequency that these guys and the power behind those kicks, I don't understand how that doesn't happen about every other fight.
Well, the issue that you have is that all it takes is one really good check for
right.
the leg kicks for the opponent, for the guy to stop throwing leg kicks. And I guess he just didn't know how to check a leg kick because I don't really know what the game plan was for Morales, but he got kicked in the legs from the opening bell and proceeded to just not block a single leg kick for about 10 minutes. And then he hit the ground because he couldn't move. And, yeah, I thought it was a good stoppage. He couldn't get up, so you can't really fight when you can't move. So I thought it was fine.
Sounds like a decided disadvantage for sure. And moving on, Casey Kenny took care of business with a submission against Louis Smolka there in round number 1. That one didn't go long. Scott, did you have a first-round submission there, buddy? And tell us all about that.
No, I did not. I had Smolka money line. That did not work out. But at the same point, I still stand by my premise. I thought that Kenny would win the fight, But at the end of the day, I thought that plus 230 was just too high to not take Smolka, and he got destroyed. So
it's one of those bets where if you play it 3 times and hit it just once, you're going to be profitable. So, that's pretty much the definition of a value play. Willie, did you play anything on Saturday night, or did you kind of take the night off there on the UFC?
I was telling you guys before we started here, this was that rare card where nothing just really stood out to me. I spent most of Saturday betting on sim sports, simulated football instead.
Okay.
It's just one of those weird cards. I tend to like a lot more top names on the card, which it sounds like I probably should have bet on it, but what can you do, right?
And then Scott, you had the flyweight battle there between Tim Elliott and Brandon Royval. Royval took care of business there in round 2 with a submission. How'd you end up there, bud?
Not well. I had Elliott winning by decision at plus 188. He won the first round. It looked like he was winning the second round, and then it was a very ugly fight. Both fighters pretty much did whatever they could to take it to the ground because neither fighter has any talent in the stand-up. They were kind of just rolling over on the ground on top of each other for about, I'd say, 8 minutes, give or take. Elliott was winning the fight. It really wasn't even that close, and then Royval got him in a submission after they rolled over one too many times, and Royval ended up getting the win. So I thought it was a good play for value. Elliott was winning the fight. The only way that he was going to lose that fight was by submission, and he lost by submission. So it happens.
All right, and then the Jamal Hill absolutely took care of business against Abreu there with a knockout in the first round. Scott, you have first round knockout there for Jamal Hill?
I said this fight would end one of 2 ways. It would either end with a Hill knockout or it'd end with an Abreu sub, and I took Abreu sub, and that didn't work out either. So that was a little bit of a slump, lost 3 in a row after winning the first fight, but then again, you get 5.5 units of profit. You can kind of afford to mess up a little bit. But Abreu sub was plus 325. I figured if Abreu got to the ground, he would win immediately, and if it stayed in the stand-up, Hill would win immediately, and yeah, Hill won immediately. So it kind of happened.
All right, and did you have little Daniel Rodriguez there in the next fight with that bout going the distance? How'd you make out there?
So when we actually did the video on that, I said I liked Rodriguez on the money line, but he was roughly like minus 285. I didn't have a play on that fight simply because of the fact that most of the lines were not up yet on whether it was FanDuel, FoxBet, etc., because they hadn't really adjusted to the new fighter, Gabriel Green. So for the sake of that fight, on the video, I leaned to Rodriguez in general at like minus 280, but I can't say that I actually had any money on that because most of the books just didn't have anything.
All right, and then the last bout on the prelim card was the ladies as Caitlin Chikagian took care of Shevchenko. Pretty good fight there as it went the distance, as a lot of the ladies' fights do. Chikagian took the fight in a decision. Scott, how'd you make out on the girls?
Good. I had Chikagian to win by decision at plus 160 on FoxBet. Shevchenko was the favorite going in. I said I wasn't sure why she was the favorite. Chikagian just fought for a title and was now suddenly an underdog to the 12th ranked competitor in the division. Made no sense, and Chikagian murdered her. Shikagian won 30-25, won 10-8 the first 2 rounds, and then won the last round 10-9. Even though it went to a decision, it looked like Shevchenko was going to tap out a couple of times, just either from punches or just having Chikagian sit on her for roughly 10 straight minutes. So, yeah, it went to a decision, but it was a completely one-sided bloodbath, and I was on the right side of it. So it was a good way to get back on track.
All right, then kind of the first bout of the main card was another bout between the ladies and Mackenzie Dern. Submitted Hannah Cyphers in the first round, man. That was again, we talk about the ladies a lot of times go the distance. This one did not. Scott, did you were able to get a little value out of that play?
Yes, it was. I said on the video that we did in the middle of last week that my favorite play on the card was Dern by submission. Plus 100 on FoxBet. That line ended up jumping all the way up to roughly minus 130, minus 140. Dern didn't look great early for the first minute or so, but eventually ended up getting a leg lock, and she won by first round sub. So I actually did have submission there at plus 100.
Excellent. And lightweight battle was the next one. Is Roosevelt Burns submitted Brock Weaver there in the second round. Roosevelt Roberts looked good. Scott, how'd you make out there?
Roberts looked very good, but unfortunately he looked a little bit too good, as I had Roberts by decision at plus 145, and he decided he didn't want to wait till the last 5 minutes, so he just took care of business there. It was really difficult because Roberts could have won the fight in a variety of ways, and I knew that going in. But Weaver had been such a consistent decision loser that I figured Roberts would just dominate the fight and it would go 15 minutes. But unfortunately, he just had too much to handle for Weaver.
And then perhaps one of the best names to have during the pandemic, Billy Quarantillo. Still love that. It was the second decision in a row, or a decision in that one, as he took care of Spike Carlisle on the judges' card there after 3 rounds. Scott, did you have the Billy Quarantillo to go the distance?
I actually did. I ended up taking a bet boost on Fox, which I gave out on the show. And however, some of the lines that we did during the video weren't available. So I simply I tallied all the lines that I got him at, and I just put it into the Twitter post that I made. But I actually recommended Quarantillo by either decision or submission, and that was available at plus 175 on FanDuel. That was definitely the most controversial decision of the night. I thought that was the best fight of the night overall. Quarantillo lost the first round. Second round was very close. Third round, Quarantillo absolutely dominated. And you could argue it was a 10-8 round in the third. Very close fight, very entertaining fight. And Quarantillo ended up getting the decision unanimously. And that was a plus 175. So that was
all right, very good. And then the co-main event was a heavyweight battle between Blagov Ivanov and Augusto Sakai, as Sakai was able to take care of business against Ivanov. Scott, were you on the right side of that one?
I was not, and that was a little bit controversial late. I had Ivanov, similar to the Quarantillo prop, I had him by sub or decision at plus 160 on Fox Bet. It was, say, Ivanov won the first round, thought he lost the second round. Third round, with roughly 3 minutes to go, Ivanov ended up getting a takedown, but Sakai illegally grabbed the fence to prevent himself from going down, and the ref just didn't see it. So Sakai just grabbed the fence to avoid the takedown, which is illegal, and it should have resulted in a point deduction. So I pretty much should have won the fight automatically, but the ref just didn't notice, and Sakai ended up winning the third round, and he won by split decision. So a little bit unlucky there, but it happens.
So if you're getting knocked down, you can't grab the fence for support, you're saying?
Yes, because hypothetically speaking, since it's a chain link fence, you just put your fingers in the chain and just pretty much prevent anybody from ever taking you down. So it's an unfair competitive advantage. Sakai knowingly was about to hit the ground, grabbed the fence to hold himself up, and the ref just didn't stop him. So usually that's a point deduction if you do that when you're about to be taken down, because that's just completely unfair. And the ref just decided, nope, looked good to me. And because of that, I think Ivanov probably would have sat on him for 3 straight minutes, won the round, plus the point deduction, would have won the fight. But unfortunately, that just didn't happen. So,
was the crowd pretty uptight about that? Were they upset?
Well, the crowd was invisible, so I don't think they really noticed much.
I don't know.
White wasn't there. Joe Rogan wasn't there. A lot of different appearances, but for the most part, no. I'm pretty sure the imaginary crowd didn't really create much of a stir.
I don't know when crowd jokes are going to get old to me, but hopefully it won't be for a while.
I know the crowd won't be getting old anytime soon.
And then the main event here, as Gilbert Burns absolutely destroyed Tyron Woodley, like we talked about earlier. It did go 5 rounds, but that was quite a beat down there for Woodley.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I had Woodley by decision. Okay. Not really fun. I was right about the decision, if that means anything, but fight was over roughly 3 minutes in. So, yeah, overall, though, as you know, since I'm more of an exact outcome bettor, the record is never going to be that great, but the results are usually there. Same thing with this card. I ended up going 3-5. I went 4-6 overall, but for plus 3.85 units. All so right. I had a solid card overall. Happens if Ivanov would have won, it definitely would have helped out. Would have broken roughly 5 units. I would have broken, 6 units if Ivanov actually got the win. But overall, yeah. I mean, anytime you can go into a card and make roughly 3.8 units, you can't really complain about it. So that was how my UFC Saturday went.
All right, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. All right, so let's bring back Winning Willie, who he's currently leading the standings in the Winners and Whiners Cup. As Willie ended up shooting us his picks. We didn't have him for the show, but after the show, he did shoot his picks over well in front of race time. He shot him over on Saturday, and Willie had Harvick, Kozlowski, and Denny Hamlin were his three. Scott, are you able to talk about this yet?
Well, you got to recap the fact that Kozlowski won, so Willie's picked winners in back-to-back races.
Yeah, 4 in a row.
Well, but he started this imaginary competition like a week ago, so you've only gotten 2 in a row according to the record books.
The competition's very real, Scott. It's not imaginary. It's very. Yeah, it's not like the crowds. It's there. It's actually there. But Willie has. We've been giving points in the order they finished, and Willie has a lead. Willie has 69, where his 6 competitors have averaged basically about 11th position. Scott, you're at 95, and yours truly, after having his long shot be the best finisher for the second race in a row, I'm at 107. So yeah, I had Scott and I were both pretty heartbroken there, as Scott had Logano and I had Chase Elliott, and they took each other out of the race. Basically, Chase Elliott tried to get that nose to stick as he went around on the inside. Couldn't get that pass. Couldn't get it to stick there on the inside as he drifted up right into Logano. They both went into the wall. On the the 497th lap with three to go, that cleared the decks for Kozlowski to take over, and Clint Boyer to come home second. My 28-1 shot finishes second. So yeah. It's Bristol, baby. Those are the kind of things that happen. They're doing trying a little bump and run there, and it's not a good look for Chase Elliott. It's just Willie, what'd you think about that race? What did you think about, especially that finish there? Was Chase Elliott just a little too aggressive? I think he knew that Logano had a better car at that point. Honestly, Logano was able to pass him on the outside. He was able to pass him on the inside, and Chase Elliott had that inside line there, and just he couldn't get it to stick. Willie, what's your thoughts on that finish?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I had told my father while we were watching the race that Logano was going to win that race if that didn't happen. There was no doubt about it. His car was better for most of the day than anybody else out there. But I don't know. It seems like every time you get to Bristol towards the later parts of the race, everybody starts sliding up the track more and more. And I think he just was trying to come in a little, trying to play a little defense and cut him close, and then just ended up sliding right into him. It was just one of those things.
Yeah, he'd pretty much been running the diamond all day there at Bristol. He didn't like the inside for most of the day, and I think he found himself in a position there that just hadn't worked all day, and unfortunately he had Logano right beside him. And if you watch the end of that race, here's a tip, kids. If you're going to go get in a scuffle, make sure you put your glasses on first, like Logano did. Was anybody else surprised that Logano got out of the car and immediately put glasses on? So
that definitely surprised me. I haven't seen that before.
Let me get this straight. So when you're driving your stock car at 150 miles an hour, 6 inches from somebody and the wall, you don't need your glasses. But once you're done, you're going to need to see.
I think Logano put on his reading glasses to find the guy with the Napa sweatshirt or the Napa tracksuit. And
I didn't understand how that worked, but
I don't know. But definitely an interesting race. Should I do my recap now, or how do you want to go about this?
Well,
I have a lot to say at this point.
You did pretty well. I got you here, buddy. You had Reddick over Kenseth, and that didn't work out. But your other picks, you did okay. You had Johnson over Jones. Jimmy Johnson snuck in there with a top. Was he a top 10 finish? He finished third. Yeah.
Forget about that. He passed post-race inspection. Look at him moving up in the world. Let's go. We actually got an absolute winner there.
You had Chase Elliott as the top Chevy, and I think that would have worked out okay for you with if he'd have gone 1-2 with Logano there, as it certainly was setting up. And so that didn't work, but you did have Kyle Busch as the top Toyota at plus 140. And then in your four-way rather, you had Boyer winning the group between Byron DiBenedetto and Eric Almirola. So that picked up a nice deuce and a quarter there for you, bud. So what was that, 365 up, 240 down? So what did you, 0.4?
I made 1.12 units.
1.12 units, not too shabby at all. My extracurricular picks did not go as well. I had Daniel Suarez in the top 10. He briefly flirted with the top 10 before dropping back. He spent most of the night about 18th to 20th, and I think that's about where he finished up. So he did not make the run there. And I took Ricky Stenhouse over Ryan Newman. Should have known better. Ricky Stenhouse.
Stenhouse crashed? I can't believe
Ricky Stenhouse involved in a crash. Who knew? Who would have figured that? So, yeah, my extracurriculars did not work out as well. Will, did you play anything? You got a nice price there on Kozlowski at plus 1,200. That was definitely a nice play. Willie also had Harvick, who finished 11th, and he had Denny Hamlin, who brought it home 17th. So your drivers were able to stay out of the pits, stay out of that back end stuff, which kills us as far as our rating system goes. So nice pick there, Willie. How'd you end up doing? Anything else? Did you have any matchups or anything else that you hit?
The only other side bet that I made, I had Kevin Harvick to finish top 5 at even money. And, yeah, I was really wanting Harvick. I wasn't going to complain with Hamlin and Keselowski. I believe I had both of them at 11-1 is where I bet them. But either way, I mean, it was. I was really looking for Harvick. I think I can't remember exactly where I had Harvick at odds-wise, but I had him also top 5, and that would have been – or, I would have been fine with him finishing 4th or 5th with another person winning also, but –
right. And, Harvick had his streak of top 10 finishes snapped there as he ended up finishing 11th. Bubba Wallace got up for a 10th place finish. A lot of guys that we don't normally see at the end of the range there. Bubba Wallace, 10th. Christopher Bell, nice run for him. He finished 9th. William Byron managed to stay out of trouble as he finished 8th. Kurt Busch, I thought, probably had the drive of the day, as he had a wreck early, also had his car he never really felt comfortable in that car, and he managed to let attrition do its thing. And Kurt Busch got up there for a top 10 finish. I thought that was one of the surprises of the day, as he spent most of the day at least one lap down there in the 20th, in the 20s. So good run there again for Kurt Busch at Bristol Motor Speedway. Anything else surprise you about that race, boys? Scott, I'll start with you. Anything else surprise you? What left you scratching your head after that race besides the finish?
Besides the finish, I was going to say that might have been the most disappointing profitable day I've ever had. And the reason why I say that, just to be clear, I didn't just have Logano winning. I had Danny Hamlin winning also. So I had both of them for half a unit. Hamlin, I got at 8.5-1, and I got Logano at 8-1. They're in first and second place with 11 laps to go. Hamlin crashes into the wall. Nobody touches him. He just loses traction with his tires and crashes into the wall. I'm like, okay, I still got Logano. He's got the best car. We'll see what happens here. And I have Elliott top Chevy. There's 3 laps to go. Logano's clearly going to win the race, assuming that, nobody bumps him. And I just see Elliott, my top Chevy, just ram him into the wall with 3 laps to go. So I had 2 cars on outrights for plus 800 or more to win the race, and they both crashed with 11 laps or less to go. And because of that, I don't even know how I still made over a unit of profit. Had neither of them crashed and Elliott actually finished top Chevy, I probably would have made 7 units, 6 units. Instead, I made one and change. So I held it together because Boyer definitely did me a solid late. But if you have 2 outrights on first and second with 11 laps to go, and both of them crash and don't finish in the top 10, that is that's not a great way to finish your racing day. You know what I mean?
That's Bristol, baby. That is Bristol. Willie, any surprises in this race for you?
A little bit. I was actually surprised that there wasn't as many there was only that many cautions. You know, I kind of figured it'd be more.
What do you
Right.
have? You had like 17 cautions, 16 cautions?
I think it ended up getting up there some, but you got to counter. You know, they have the two competition cautions now, which
Yeah.
whatever. I don't understand it, but whatever.
Mhm.
And then yeah, nobody really just stood out to me besides Kurt Busch, which I wasn't here with you guys for the video, obviously, but I did watch it. And as you alluded to in the video, Scott, the veteran drivers, they did a good job for the most part of avoiding wrecks, I thought, which
Right.
made which it kind of made sense that Kurt Busch would finish where he did, which but yeah, I mean, other than that, it wasn't. You gotta have to expect the unexpected at Bristol.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I think the biggest shocker underrated was the fact that in today's era of NASCAR, where you have stages and a bunch of other random stuff, the guy who won the pole actually won the race. I didn't think I'd see that anytime soon. Good for Kozlowski.
Well, especially in a short track, which the pole means virtually nothing in a 500 lap short track race. But yeah, it ended up. Kozlowski was pretty much just forgotten about for about 90% of this race. Led early and started getting a run going there late. If I'm not mistaken, he's the first one on fresh tires?
That sounds right. He
I know
definitely.
him and Boyer both had fresh tires.
Yeah,
And,
which makes sense why Boyer ended up going on a serious run late to come in second. So yeah, that definitely makes sense.
yeah, they use up those tires a lot, and you use up those left sides even more when they put they're starting to put the powder, the grip stuff down that they put down on the inside. So yeah, they're just wearing the hell out of those left side tires. So fresh tires, man, it's all about the tires there, especially at Bristol. So yeah, it was a fun race. It was certainly a lot of excitement, a lot of disappointment. It's Bristol, baby, and now we're going to go on to Atlanta. I know, Willie, we're going to have you back. This is going to be the winning Willie week because, Willie, we're going to have you back on tomorrow to talk esports, and then I think we're going to be getting together with you hopefully on Saturday to preview the Atlanta Motor Speedway, one of the again another a mile and a half track that seems to run a lot faster than most mile and a half tracks. So I'm looking forward to that. That should be fun. Just for grins, Scott, I know you and I don't take a big look at the Xfinity race, but they do have Xfinity race. They're going 300 laps there at Bristol tonight. I know, Willie, you talked about sharing some thoughts on the Xfinity race. The Busch brothers will not be driving; they'll be in the booth for this one. So yeah, let some of those regular Xfinity drivers have a shot at it. And when you talk about regular Xfinity drivers, that usually means Chase Briscoe. Willie, you on Briscoe tonight?
He could definitely be worth a look. I definitely understand why he's the favorite. I see a couple other drivers that kind of poke out at me. Justin Allgaier and Ross Chastain for two of them. AJ Allmendinger's driving his first race for however long it's been. He's been the announcer for NBC for a while now. He's driving his first race back. It's Bristol though. It's kind of the same thing as we talked about with the Cup Series. It's survive the wrecks and you got it, which kind of gives me maybe a lean to Allmendinger at 11-1 or Michael Annett at 50-1 maybe. But
Okay.
It's for the most part it probably chalks the best way to go with the Xfinity. It usually is.
Now, does Allmendinger have good equipment? Does he have equipment that he can win with? Is he hooked up with a decent team?
I'm not sure who he's racing with this week.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at some of the favorites here. Chase Briscoe is the overwhelming favorite, plus 2.25. A little better price on Allgaier as at plus 350. I got Ross Chastain at plus 550. All those guys might be worth a look. I don't hate Noah Gragson either at 10-1. I think that might be worth a swing. And anytime you have somebody with the experience of AJ Allmendinger, although not really the experience of running, I don't know what the best team he ever ran with in the Cup Series. It seems like he never really had a real competitive ride. Am I wrong on that? Am I remembering that right, Willie?
For the most part.
Okay. Yeah, we lost you there for a minute. But you're back now, Scott. You got any Xfinity?
I
thoughts
believe
on
he
that?
was with Michael. Oh,
Go ahead. Michael Waltrip Racing.
yeah. I believe he was with Michael Waltrip Racing at one point, which they had a pretty good budget.
Yeah, they're not bad. They weren't bad. And they got absorbed by who did they get absorbed by? Do you know?
Oh, I don't remember. I believe Hendricks maybe. That would make sense. They had a pretty good close partnership.
Yeah, that does sound right. Scott, you got any Xfinity thoughts here, my friend?
Not really. If I'm being completely
Sure.
honest with you, if I
Fair
had to
enough.
lean to anybody, I would probably lean to Briscoe at plus 260 on
Okay.
Fox. But am I going to play it? No, but I actually do like Briscoe a lot, and I do think that he is one of the best drivers on the circuit. Kyle Busch isn't going to be running, so you don't have to worry about a minus 150 guy in the race itself, which definitely bodes well for Briscoe. I think by far the most underrated competitor in this race is any other driver at a plus 2,500, right? Big fan of his work. I think he's, a very solid driver.
Okay.
But how many drivers are actually in the race in comparison to how many lines are there? Like half the field has a line and the others are just plus 2,500?
Seems about right. Did they lining up 40 for this one? I'm not trying to find the.
I'd have to assume somewhere around there, and Foxbet only has about like 15, 20 names. You got about half the field, and then you got any other driver at plus 2,500, which kind of shows the comparison of of regular Cup racing to the Xfinity stuff, because you could actually bet on every single racer in NASCAR, and you can't really do that in
Yeah,
Xfinity.
37 starters in this
Yeah,
one.
sounds about right. But for me, I'll lean to Briscoe. Briscoe won me over when he went side by side with Kyle Busch a couple weeks ago, and he ended up squeaking that one out. So I like the way he races. He's not afraid of making moves late, which I think is important on these short track races. You have to take advantage of any opportunity that you have. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Briscoe potentially make a pass with maybe 2 laps to go or so. But for me, I like Briscoe. I think he's a good driver. Plus 260. Am I going to take it? No, I'm not betting it. But if I had to lean anywhere, I would probably lean to Briscoe. You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I said, I tend to lean more towards the favorites. I think Xfinity seems a little chalkier to me, so I'm definitely going to take a long look at Briscoe. Probably my second choice is going to be Ross Chastain, just for value at plus 525 on my bookie. I don't know if anybody's got a better price than that, but
Wait,
that would
what
probably
price
be
did you say?
what's I got it at 525 for Chastain.
I see 6-1 here on Fox.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. I would get I think I'd get Briscoe to hedge my bets and take a swing with Chastain. Willie, what do you like? Anybody sneaky in this one?
Like I said, if I'm taking a long shot, it's going to be Michael and Ned at 50-1.
Okay.
But I'm really probably Justin Allgaier. You guys are probably getting better odds because Scott's had better odds at Fox Bet than I have with the draft. But yeah, I mean I don't really plan on dabbling much into it.
No, I might take a little swing. I've got a kind of a busy night tonight, so I probably won't watch this one. All right, boys. Well, that's breaking it down, and like I said, we got Atlanta coming up. We got esports coming tomorrow. Willie, give us a little preview of the esports. What's happening with the esports leaguers? Are they are all the leagues kind of firing back up here for summer?
Well, you got the 4 major League of Legends leagues. They'll be starting up within this month, and then right now you got a really big major. I don't know what you call them for Counter-Strike tournament events. They get called everything, but it's a pretty much it's I think at least 7 of the 16 teams in it or so are in the top 10 in the world ranked. So really big tournament there.
All right, cool. Well, I know you got some thoughts on that, so we'll look forward to talking about that tomorrow. Scott, got any closing thoughts here on our weekend? By the way, you and I talked about we both enjoyed having Curtis on the show to talk horses on Friday. However, it did not work out too well with our picks. nobody from the show had a great Saturday. I'll just say that. So kind of a wipeout weekend for me. I didn't have a couple of make good NASCAR bets to get me well. I pretty much had all my eggs in the baskets of Clint Boyer. Oh, Clint, 28-1. So close. But yeah.
I'll take the 225 payout that he got me, but that's just me.
Okay, great. Anyway.
Yeah.
Scott, any final thoughts as you and I struggle for the bottom of the Winners and Whiners Cup? Of course, it just takes one bad weekend for Willie.
Well, I should probably be on the cusp of first place, but then two of my drivers crashed with less than 10 laps to go.
Cool story, bro. Anyway.
Yeah, it happens. So, it is what it is. But in terms of the rest of the week, yeah, looking forward to it. Esports coverage definitely going to be interesting as Scott and I are trying to get, I'd say, more accustomed to talking about esports.
That's right. Yes, it'll be fun listening to you and I kind of play catch up with the esports.
Yeah, well, I know we also have a brand new guest we're going to be having on our show later on in the week. Not going to spoil that, but let's just say we might be covering a little bit of European soccer over the course of the week. So we got that coming up.
That's right.
And then, yeah, we're going to talk about the UFC card coming up later this week. Should be a lot of fun. A lot of stuff on the horizon.
Well, in fact, wait a minute. Am I got my days wrong here? Are we going to talk esports on Wednesday?
Are we?
I think we've got soccer scheduled for tomorrow, my friend.
Then I guess we might be talking soccer tomorrow. So,
all right, Willie. Sorry to tease you and everybody else, Willie.
Well, truth be told, you were the one who was talking to our guest, so I don't really know when you agreed to have him on.
I'm sitting here all along about talking about tomorrow and everything. Yeah, we're going to do soccer tomorrow.
Okay, fair enough. So we got you want to talk about our guest?
Yeah, we're gonna be talking with Valdez Pons, who is a European soccer writer for Winners and Whiners. He's been doing this a long time, and we're gonna talk a little European soccer, but a little Bundesliga in particular. Talk about the Wednesday games as well as the weekend games. So it should be fun talking to Valdez. I don't know. I think last I saw he was in Mallorca. I know he's originally from Latvia, but he travels all over Europe. So it'll be fun to catch up with him, and we'll have a little different take on the soccer, because you and I, you've talked a little bit about Bundesliga, but we haven't delved too deeply into it. So we're going to be taking on a new guest and a new sport as we talk a little football tomorrow. So that'll be fun. And then Willie will be on Wednesday. Easy come, easy go, Willie. So Willie will be on Wednesday talking esports with us. So anyway, that should be a lot of fun. Well, guys, that was kind of fun wrapping up the weekend there. We had varying degrees of success. When I say varying degrees of success, I mean you guys had some, I had none. So, yeah, that's what you get, especially at Bristol. You get close, and but sometimes it's no cigar, and I was absolutely no cigar this weekend for me on the cars, the horses, people, and anything I bet on.
You don't like to brag, but that's how
I should have had bets on the riots over under cars torched. Would have been a better play for me. But anyway, that be that as it may, it was a fun weekend. Enjoyed watching it. Just because you don't win doesn't mean you didn't have a good time. So, and believe it or not, I'm not breaking the bank on anything NASCAR plays quite yet. So we're still able to absorb it. We're still up there. We're still in there punching. So it'll be fun. Hey, Willie, thanks for stopping by, man. Congratulations on your big win this weekend. Well done, my friend.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me.
Of course. We'll be looking forward to talking to you on Wednesday. We're looking forward to talking a little soccer tomorrow. But until then, I am Scott Steen. He is Scott Reichel, and he is Winning Willie. And we are Today in Sports Betting. Don't forget to stop by and check out winnersandwhiners.com for all the great content over there. Man, esports, soccer, NASCAR, you name it. It's over there. We might even touch on a little bit of baseball tomorrow. Baseball is the players have put out a counter proposal. I know Scott and I, we've been watching this pretty closely, and I don't think we have any renewed sense of optimism after the counter proposal for them. So we might talk a little bit about that tomorrow as well. But until then, you guys take care. Have a great week. Happy Monday. Thanks for joining us today. As always, couldn't do it without you, kids. So keep checking us out as we get closer to normal. I don't know. Feels like we won't be normal for a long time, but you know what? We're in there plugging. That's all about what sports betting is all about adjusting, adapting, and overcoming. So we're going to do all those things. You guys take care. Have a great day. Have a great week. Watch a little Xfinity tonight if you get a chance. And, we'll be back tomorrow to bitch about that, I'm sure. You guys take care. We'll see you next time on Today in Sports Betting. Bye-bye.